This wall right there is where Jess and I got engaged. Maine's on the way to nowhere. There's tradition here. You can almost feel the tradition.
It's true. The lobstering and the fishing, like. Whenever I can't find Corey, I just need to look in very odd places, like up on the roof. It's a little nerve-wracking if you have any fear of heights, but it's worth it. This is gorgeous. Go out on the boat today with your brother?
He's got a new boat that I am excited to see, because a boat on this lake that we're about to go to, Sebago Lake, is what got us started.
That's right. That was the beginning of our dream.
He got the boat that I wanted to get, so we're gonna go see it.
We're gonna check it out.
Let's see if I can do this.
No. Are you insane? Go down there. Way closer. What are you doing?
I'm gonna jump.
No.
No?
I'm not a part of any part of this. Layla, you got your sweatshirt, honey?
I can do it. Fine. Go around. Bondi cigar? What does it mean?
It's you should Google it.
Bondi cigar.
Yeah.
Well, how about you tell me, because I'm filming.
It's Australian slang for a piece of excrement floating.
Oh, you were being serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real. It's real. But it sounds really fancy, right? Bondi cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we told Mom and Dad, Mom's like, are you kidding me right now?
It's lots of fun when people Google it.
Oh, this thing is awesome, Drew. Liam, what do you think? What's your favorite part about this boat?
I like the name.
Oh man. Okay, here, take this. Let me help. Look at that.
How long your hair is. I haven't seen your hair down.
Hey, Rune. Rune, stay on the boat. All right, Rune. Rune, where do you sleep? Where's your room? Show me your room. That's it? You're just going to point at it? Looks like it's just got some stuff in it. Yeah?
He sleeps with all the trash in the boat.
That's the bathroom.
Ooh.
Davey.
That's cool.
Look, Corey, this is a closet.
It's not a closet, it's a refrigerator.
This is the closet where we keep cold things.
I like all the windows in here, though.
Yeah. There's a creeper one in the bathroom.
Is there? Let's check it out. Oh, that is the tiniest little window, a little porthole. See a creeper. All right, Rune, thanks for giving me the tour. What kind of Pringles are those? Can I have some?
There's salt and vinegar.
Reach them out. Look at this hand.
Are you kidding?
All right, thank you.
How you doing?
There's like a bathroom.
That's a good wave, buddy.
All right, Corey, did you tell them we're getting to a historical site here? There it is.
This
Here's
wall
our piece of history.
right there is where Jess and I got engaged.
Yep, there it is.
Look at that. That's where it all began.
That's right. That's where it is.
I love Whites Bridge Road.
I know, me too. It's a good place.
Look at all these memories.
I know. There's the boat dock.
That was our slip right there on the other side of that blue boat.
Wow.
This was the beginning of the traveling journey.
Yeah, right there.
We were out
At
on
that
this
dock.
lake all summer.
This launch right here is only like 2 minutes from our old house.
Yep.
It's probably more like 10, but
Yeah, close.
I like to say 2.
It was close.
That is a shiny boat.
That is a shiny boat.
Sparkles.
Very sparkly.
My
You guys
gosh.
hear it behind it?
Yeah.
Nice.
A little nostalgic here. There's nothing cooler than the sound of a loon. I'm pretty sure this is some sort of mating ritual.
Well, I've never seen.
I've never seen this.
We've seen 100 loons.
3 of them. Let them jump out.
Yeah, we haven't seen that.
They're all coming center.
I think I wish I had a longer lens on. Well done.
Thank you. Hall, you have to drill them through the hall.
That would make me so nervous.
Yeah, I mean,
So what he's talking about is pulling this boat, drilling holes under the waterline and putting 6,000 lumen lights.
4 of them.
Light up this whole marina. I don't even want to drill through the roof of my RV.
I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on it, and so I feel better.
Ah, it's such a good looking boat. All right, Sebago Lake has a ton of meaning for us. As we showed you, that's where I proposed to Jess. She said yes. And that I chose that spot specifically because in high school, we dated for just a little bit. And just before I was gonna go to the Navy and she was going to college, she broke up with me right there.
I did.
So I said, I'm taking this spot back. So,
And I'm so glad he did.
but Sebago Lake is like, it's where a lot of this started. Our marriage started there. We got our first boat there, and that boat is what spurred us on to start dreaming about different places to explore. We pulled away from that dock and it was just freedom. It was just wide open opportunity, and we wanted to figure out a way to replicate that.
I don't think that we've actually shared our full story with you guys here on YouTube, and since we're talking about all these firsts, I thought it would be a good idea for us to be able to share where our story really came from and how we ended up hitting the road. In 2007, my dad was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's or ALS at the age of 46, and he was given 2 years to live, and obviously this altered every part of our lives. Dad actually lived for 7.5 years, which was miraculous, and in the midst of that, he needed more care, and I became one of his caregivers, so I quit my job, and you know, to us, family was priority, and the financial hit of me leaving a job and all that comes along with that was definitely worth it, and we altered our lives to make that happen. I started a business. Our lives
completely.
Absolutely. Corey was already running 2 businesses at the time, and I started a spray tanning salon that I ran in our home so that I could work nights and be with
those
Dad.
of you that don't know, I was a photographer before.
That's
we shot
right.
weddings, events, and eventually I transitioned just to shooting real estate. I liked shooting properties, and I owned an auto detailing company.
So that was our life at the time, and in the midst of all that, we started homeschooling so that they could be with him as long as possible, and honestly, I think that's what prolonged his life so much.
Definitely what prolonged it.
He loved those girls so very much. I think that it grew up the girls a lot. There's something very special about children who learn compassion at an early age, and even though it was hard and devastating to watch our children go through grief and stuff like that, it's so special to see what it grows inside of them. Sorry. All that to say, all these things we had no idea was preparing us for this life. You know, he would be our biggest cheerleader, and we're so thankful that we were in a position to be able to leave and hit the road.
That started us thinking that that we did want to make a change. After all of that, we wanted to make a change. So we started saving. So a lot of you probably have the question, how do we even do this? We started saving, and we didn't know we were going to do what we're doing now. We just knew we were making a change.
Right.
And our first thought was that we were going to move down south. And we knew that we were going to need, you know, a good amount of cash to restart our lives down there.
Yeah.
Because we were tired of Maine weather. Maine's beautiful in the summer, but the winters just they just start to drag on. So we knew we wanted to change that.
Right. exactly.
So like I just said, we thought we were going to move down south. In between, we just figured, why not take a trip?
Yeah.
So we started researching floor plans and stuff online, and then we just realized we were not pioneers. We were not rethinking anything. There was quite a few people that were doing this.
That's right. They were RVing, they were living on the road, and they were going and seeing this country, and we were just so inspired by all of it.
Our month-long trip turned into 3 months, 6 months, and then a year, and then we just stopped telling people what we were doing.
And that year went past, and we have loved it so much and found even more ways to grow an income. And so as long as that lasts, that's what we're gonna do. Our hope when we hit the road was to...
Yeah, because we're not retired.
No,
No,
we're
this
not.
is-
We're working very hard.
Yes.
This is a season, and we know this is a season of our lives, but it was very important for us to make this season as special as possible, to create amazing experiences and unforgettable memories with our girls before they're gone and living their own lives. So, you know, my dad was 53 years old when he died, and he worked his entire life to give my siblings and I everything that he and my mom never had as kids, and he never got his someday. And so that experience of watching him, you know, go through this really spurred us on to just not wait and to go find our someday now. And since we're discussing our story with you and where it all began, we thought it would only be fitting for us to be able to share with you guys our favorite things to do and our recommendations if you are planning a trip to our home state of Maine. I'll make sure that we put all of these things in the description as well.
We never RV'd in Maine.
People ask us that all the time, and we're
So
like,
we don't know
sorry.
anything about RVing in Maine, so don't ask us.
These are just our favorite places that we
Yeah.
think you need to go see if you do take an RV trip to Maine.
All right, so obviously Bar Harbor's on your list, Acadia National Park,
Right.
and sorry the sun is going in and out, but I hope it's not too distracting. That is not all that Maine is, although
No.
that's the national park, so that's what everybody hears about.
And
But-
it's beautiful, and
it
you
is
should visit it. Just know that
definitely
there's lots of other
beautiful.
things to see.
So where we're from, that's about 3 hours north up the coast.
Right.
But you need to see Cadillac Mountain for sunrise.
Yeah.
Even though we got skunked there, and when we went with Nathan and Marissa, we got all fogged in. It still was worth it because on the
That's
way
right.
down, when we got down below the fog bank, and you could see Bar Harbor below and the beautiful light and the cruise ship coming in.
It's
that's
always worth getting up for sunrise. Even
always
if
worth it.
It's not how you planned.
Yeah.
Always get up and go. The cool thing about Cadillac is that it's one of 2 places in the state of Maine where the sun touches for the first time on the United States. So that's kind of a cool
That is
piece.
kind of a cool fact.
It's kind of neat.
And then there's the iconic bass headlight.
Yep.
It's a cool headlight. It's
Any lighthouse on the coast
Yeah.
is gorgeous.
This one's a little bit different because it actually shines red, which is just
neat.
to preserve people's night vision.
The hike down to it is really cool too. Like you actually have to like hike down and around the rocks to get a good view of it. So it's
Yeah.
a little bit of a different experience,
It
which is
really
really
is.
fun.
Another cool thing about Acadia is the loop road that just kind of gives you a tour through the park and
Right.
gets you through all the different features and stuff. It's a one-way, 2-lane road,
Mm-hmm.
and you can stop anywhere along that route. So you can even take your RV down there if you want to.
You wouldn't be able to get into some of the parking lots maybe, but you can definitely pull over, so it is an option if you're just driving through. Acadia is also known for some really incredible hikes. It's amazing to be able to do any hikes on an island because once you get up high enough, you can actually like see all of Mount Desert Island, so it's just stunning. Marissa and I got to do Beehive, which I highly recommend. If you're scared of heights, it may be a little sketchy, but I did it, so you guys can do it too. There's ladders and bars and all kinds of things built into the mountain on this hike, but the view from the top was spectacular. It was just so cool to see the island from that view.
All that being said, the whole coast of Maine is
Right.
amazing, and that is really what you want to go see in Maine, is just the coast.
That's right.
There's islands dotted everywhere, exploring all the tide pools at low tide. There's just so much to do. Just like any coast that you're exploring, check everything out at low tide. On the Oregon coast, the Washington coast, the Maine coast, check everything out
Yep.
at low tide. Everything's so much cooler. So the drive up to Bar Harbor, there's a couple different ways you can go. You can just stay on 295 and then hit 1, or you can stay on 1 the entire way up Maine
Do
coast.
that.
You're gonna go through all these iconic Maine towns.
So cool.
Like Rockport, Camden, and don't forget, this probably isn't on your list, but don't forget Boothbay. Boothbay Harbor is one of my childhood favorite places to go.
Absolutely.
And even as an adult, I just love going to Boothbay Harbor.
I feel like it's a smaller version of Bar Harbor.
It's a smaller, I almost
just-
want to say better, because it's not
Yeah.
it's not quite as
not as
busy
touristy.
as Bar Harbor. Put
Put
Boothbay
Boothbay
on your list. Whichever route you decide to go up and down the coast, there's basically Bar Harbor,
Yep.
and then Portland as far as areas that you're going to want to explore.
Sure.
Obviously, there's more to Maine, but I'm going to guess that, you know...
That's probably as far as you're going to travel up.
Yeah, so we'll keep it...
We'll keep it
a
to
little
like
bit
the
more
southern,
simple.
central Maine area.
You could get crazy and go all the way to the top of Maine in Fort Kent, and that is where Route 1 starts or stops, and the other end of it is in Key West. It ends in Key West.
And we have been to both.
So Freeport is another location that you might have heard of, and that's because of LL Bean. LL Bean's headquarters is in Freeport.
Not to mention Freeport itself is just like such a cool town. There's
if you like
shops
little
everywhere.
shops, it's really neat.
And make sure while you're there that you stop at Wicked Whoopie. Whoopie pies are a main thing, and you need to make sure that you get a whoopie pie from Wicked Whoopies.
Yeah, we're not only donut people, we're
whoopie pie people
too. So go check out the Big Bean Boot at LL Bean.
And also another quick stop or drive by if you're on your way from Freeport to Portland, make sure you check out Eartha, which is actually the Guinness World Book of Records holder for the biggest spinning globe in the world. It's pretty neat to go in and see, and it's free, so if you have a chance, stop by and check it out.
Check it out. Garmin owns it now. All right, so that brings us to Portland. If you like lighthouses, there's like 3 or 4 lighthouses right in this one area.
That's
and
right.
There's obviously lighthouses all the way up the coast, so I'm sure some of you are lighthouse connoisseurs, and you might want to do a whole lighthouse tour of Maine.
Which is an incredible goal to have for sure.
Yeah.
But if you can only see 1 or 2
in one small area,
that's right. Make sure you go to Portland.
Be your place.
So Portland Headlight is one of our absolute favorites. It's the most famous lighthouse, I think,
most
probably.
Photographed lighthouse in the world.
I didn't know it was in the world. That's awesome.
Yeah, in the world. So we're from here, and we go back here all the time,
That's
and
right.
it's special every single time.
There's something about where it is on the coast, and it's at an old military fort, so you can walk the paths after checking out the lighthouse at sunrise, which we suggest, preferably with Tony's Donuts and Baker's Bench cream horns, since we mentioned it in our last episode.
Sunrises. Go to Portland Headlight for sunrise for 2 reasons. One, there's going to be way less people. There's only going to be a handful of people there, and the light in the morning there is just incredible. Off in the distance over the water, you're going to see the sunrise up over Ram Headlight, another headlight off in the distance. It's an incredible...
It's indescribable, honestly. It's so beautiful, and it's one of the places that we always take people.
Whether you like lighthouses or not, it's amazing.
You should see this place.
Aside from the lighthouses in the Portland area, get out on the water. This is called Casco Bay. You saw in the last episode we took a sunset cruise on that Windjammer. Casco Bay is just unbelievable. It's dotted with little islands. It's got forts. It's got everything. One
tip that we have for you guys, if you are on a budget and a tour does not fit in, we totally understand that. We cannot go and do every single tour in every single place that we visit. We always recommend trying to find out if there's any local ferries. So there are tons of islands all over the place near Portland. Sometimes just riding the ferry out to like Peaks Island and back is such an experience, and it's about the same trip that we took on the boat.
But whether you get off at Peaks Island or any of the other islands, the cost is the same.
That's right.
You just catch the next ferry.
If you do have time to go out onto Peaks and you have bikes with you, it is an incredible trip to just like bike around the island. It's a tiny little island. It's
or you
awesome.
can rent bikes.
Or you can rent bikes, that's right. Or just stop for lunch. There's beautiful restaurants right on the water. Highly recommend going to Peaks.
Besides lighthouses, Portland's also known as like a foodie town. There are so many amazing restaurants in the Old Port. There's something for everybody.
And it's such a cool little walk in the Old Port, like the old cobblestone streets and stuff like that. You just feel like the age of the place, and it's just such a cool vibe as you're walking around. Our favorite place in the Old Port is Flatbread Pizza. Make sure you check it out, and if you get a chance, sit out on the back deck overlooking the water. It is absolutely amazing.
That's the other thing. Like, the food just tastes better when you're looking at cool things. If you're here in the ships and in the boats and all that, food just tastes better.
Speaking of seeing beautiful views while you're eating food, we mentioned our friend Jeff in our last episode. He owns the Lobster Shack, which is probably on every one of your lists as a place to go and see and eat in Maine. As far as views go, it doesn't get much better than the view at the Lobster Shack at Two Lights.
And here we are back to lighthouses. There's 2 lighthouses at the Lobster Shack. It's called the Lobster Shack at Two Lights. All right, so after you've eaten your lobster rolls, what I really recommend is that you get a whole lobster and you get the full experience by just tearing that thing apart. That's the real experience of eating lobster.
Exactly right. Even if lobster is not your absolute favorite thing in the world, sorry guys, I know I'm from Maine, lobster's not my favorite. The process of actually like breaking open a lobster and sharing that with someone for the first time is so much fun.
It's a big giant mess, but it's worth it.
It's an experience, and it's something you can say you've done. So definitely get to a lobster bake or steam yourself some lobsters when you're in Maine.
One other small Maine store that you cannot miss is Amato's.
Oh.
Just do yourself a favor. Google Amato's when you're there. A few will pop up. Just try one.
This is where you need to try an Italian. That's what you need to order from Amato's. They make amazing calzones and pizza and all that kind of stuff, but the New England thing to get in Amato's is an Italian. You probably don't think about beaches when you think about Maine, but we do have a couple of our favorite beaches that we want to share with you guys. Most people will try to go to Old Orchard Beach. Not our favorite. Don't go to Old Orchard Beach. That's just our personal preference. Don't go there. We love Higgins. Higgins has a lot of sentimental value to us. We went there a lot in high school, and we actually walked the beach in our tux and dress after our wedding. It's just one of our favorites. I will say that the only time to visit Higgins is when it's low tide. The tide is huge, and it gives the beach, it makes the beach really massive.
The beach goes from like 50 feet to like a half a mile at low tide. So go at low tide. Another beach, it's further up the coast. It's called Popham Beach. Just Google that one. That's an amazing,
just stunning.
That's just an amazing beach. There's a fort there. There's an island you can walk out to at low tide. It's just a neat beach. There's a million beaches. No matter which one you go to, you'll love it.
Don't count out beaches when you go to Maine.
Yes. So that brings us to when's the best time to visit Maine? And we think it's September. The beginning of September, most of the tourists leave, the kids go back to school.
That's right.
And the weather is still hot enough to do summertime activities. At the end of September, beginning in October, is when the foliage starts to change.
And fall is my absolute favorite time of year. So being able to watch the foliage, nothing beats a New England fall.
Oh, it's amazing. So if you stick around till October to see the foliage change in Maine, I mean, that gives you the opportunity to follow the foliage change the whole way down the East Coast.
If you do decide to stay in Maine and follow the foliage down, make sure that you're stopping in the White Mountains in New Hampshire on your way down. Take a drive down the Kangamangas Highway. Make sure you check out North Conway. Such a cool little town.
You could also take a car up to the top of Mount Washington. Now, its numbers might not be impressive to you, but trust me, it's impressive. All right, one more tip if you're planning on driving to Maine and on your way back is tolls. Tolls can be crazy.
Especially if you're in an RV.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The more axles, the more expensive it is. We did a video about this, but one quick tip is avoid crossing the Hudson below Route 84. It's
an
insane.
Insane amount of money.
If you cross the Hudson going through New York City on 95, it could cost you $100 or more. And if you cross at 84, it's less than $10.
So save some money, make sure you're paying attention to tolls on your trip to Maine. As you guys have probably noticed, our last two episodes have been filmed a little bit differently than normal. Part of the reason for that is that we were coming to Maine to spend time with our family that we hadn't seen in 18 months, as well as shoot a wedding and do some other work while we were here in Maine.
And just to do the stuff that's hard to do on the road.
Whenever we come back to Maine, we are here for our doctor's appointments, for dentist appointments, those things that just are normal life to everybody else, but are a little bit harder when we're traveling. So the focus has really been on family. The girls have enjoyed every minute being on the lake with their cousins, kayaking, paddleboarding.
Endless hours of pinball.
Yeah,
I don't think we showed it, but this camp has a pinball machine in it. It's just amazing. It's so much fun.
Like the girls' favorite part. And we also were able to be here to celebrate Corey's grandmother's 90th birthday. The family threw her a surprise birthday party, and the fact that we were able to be here for that was just so special.
Thanks for sticking around for these slightly different episodes. We'll be back to some normal adventuring here pretty soon. I think I swallowed a bug. Give us some water. Oh my gosh.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
A little bit of protein?
Yeah.